Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday night reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the unedited, unadulterated translation of this very important literature by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And I was looking at the entries for today's reading, and it's interesting to note that Prabhupada, in April of 1966, was very active in recording his classes for future generations, even in those early days of his development and the development of his mission. Because we have to remember that back in April of 66, he was just making a move from an office building room that had no bathroom and no kitchen facilities. Now, generally, that's how people survive. You don't need an elaborate house to survive in, but you need somewhere to clean yourself, and you do need somewhere to cook, to prepare food, and he had neither of those. And what he did was he managed to arrange the use of Dr. Mishra's ashram in Monroe, and he also used the other studio that Mishra had in the same building to go there and have his prasadam, cook his prasadam and offer it. And this way he was surviving with hardly any facility. So it's very important for us to study these pastimes of Srila Prabhupada and understand how surrendered he truly was to the mission that was given to him by his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. And you know, back in the day, Yashodanandana Prabhu, when people were joining the movement, it was the 60s and the 70s, the early 70s that most of us joined. At that time, we also came with nothing. It was a period of people taking up a renounced life with an attraction to it. They thought, oh, this is terrific. It could have been just the age that we were at. I had a very valuable bass guitar at the time. Nowadays it'd be worth like $25,000. And back then, I read in the Nectar of Devotion that if you give up the most valuable possession that you have for Kṛṣṇa, then Kṛṣṇa becomes eternally indebted to you for that sacrifice. So I did sacrifice my bass to pay the rent for the Hamilton Temple. Okay. So it was that kind of mood. We moved into the Toronto temple in the ashram. We lived up on the third floor on Gerrard Street, and there was like 15 people there living in a couple of little rooms, brahmacharis. I can remember all we had was these little BTG boxes, small boxes, and everybody put their possessions in them, and that's all they kept. And we were quite happy because we had a chance to take up the Sankirtan mission. We weren't encumbered by any, let's say, material goods or acquisitions, nothing. And there's a spirit of liberation in that, a freedom from material entanglement, which as life goes on, you find yourself, things change and you acquire things, and you may get married, you may have children, have all kinds of situations which are much, much different than when we joined then. And when we took up the mission with Srila Prabhupada, it was like an army working together without any care except the pleasure of our spiritual master. So things have changed, and the people are different. Things are much different here in Mexico, by the way. Prabhupada's potency is demonstrated here. Prabhupada has spread Krishna consciousness here in Mexico. There are quite a few devotees here, hundreds of them. They have festivals, they have 200-300 devotees come. They're all of different, say, groups and sects with different gurus. They all refer to Prabhupada as the grand spiritual master, but then they have, it's either an ISKCON guru or a Gaudiya Math guru. So it's quite different. And most people are very confused about what a bona fide spiritual master is, because they're not being instructed by the people that are initiating them into the process of Krishna consciousness, in a much different point of view than we had back in, say, 1972, where there was one guru, one Gita, one mission. Now it's all kinds of gurus, all kinds of missions, all kinds of, in a sense, narcissistic, self-centered groups. And there is no sense of cooperation, none. It's very hard to find people that have a common denominator, which is Srila Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation. So it's been a very educational trip. I'll comment on it on Saturday, some of the interesting questions that were asked to me by these various Gaudiya Math people and ISKCON guru cult members, so we can all get a better, deeper understanding of the trouble that this society is going through because of so many deviant philosophies. But this was much different back then. In 1966, one guru, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and Vinod, I think we're at, what is it, April 7th or April 6th? Yes. So it's Wednesday, April 6th, 1966. And by the way, I think I heard the lecture today from that period. I listened to it. It was an hour and a half long. I listened to it in the kitchen here in Yucatepec, Mexico. Fantastic, by the way. The lecture was very, very insightful. So I do recommend all of you go online and look up these dates and the classes Prabhupada was giving to the very small amount of people that were coming to hear him speak back then. So it was Wednesday, April 6th, sunrise 5:32 a.m., sunset 6:33 p.m., moonrise 8:19 p.m. Today I took meals at Dr. Mistra's place. He is not happy that I'm gradually shifting to Paul's place. Today received one letter from Library of Congress, Washington. It's good news. The Library Congress number expenditure was 15 cents. Paul purchased for me 1 packet of carbon paper, 100 sheets for $2.50. At the evening, there was a meeting, Green absent. There were 7 boys and girls, all attended the meeting carefully. Some of them brought rice, atta, and fruits. There was no collection, and the expenditure was 15 cents. Yes, and this lecture is online if you want to listen to it. I think that's what I heard today. Very good class. Thursday, April 7th, 1966. Prabhupada, sunrise 5:30 a.m., sunset 6:34 p.m., moonrise 9:37 p.m. Preacher, today I'm staying with Paul. So he's in the Bowery. I cooked food and dined with Paul and Sakar. They like the food stuff, very nice. Circumstances seem to be favorable. Paul promises to organize. He is enthusiastic. Notice how Prabhupada points out, circumstances seem to be favorable. He is enthusiastic. Let us see. He attended the morning class punctually. Friday, April 8th, 1966 in New York City, in the Bowery here. Sunrise 5:29 a.m., sunset 6:36 p.m., moonrise 10:53, Chaturi. Today, the whole day and night, also I stayed at Mr. Paul's loft. He calls him Mr. Paul, who I think he was only 19. Saw Elsie to inquire about the Library of Congress card. Not very encouraging. Evening, there was a meeting. 7 boys and girls attended. Contribution was $5. Some fruits also. And the expenditure bus fare was 30 cents. So 15 there and back. And on Saturday, April 9th, 1966, back in time. Sunrise at 5:27 a.m., sunset at 6:37 p.m. Panchami. Today I went to Dr. Mishra's apartment. He did leave the key with the doorman, so I had some difficulty to enter the room. The doorman opened the door by his keys, and by entering the room, I saw that doctor got my note. Anyway, I cooked some kittery and took rest. And it took because there was no flour. After a little rest, I took my typewriters and came down to my room at 72nd Street. From there, I came to Paul's loft. In the evening, Sussman met me. He brought me some grains. The expenditure subway fare was 30 cents. Paul paid $2, so the total expenditure was $2.30. We'll read one last section, April 10th, 1966. And April 11th, 1966. Sunrise 5:25 a.m., sunset 6:38 p.m. Moonrise was 3. Sasti, today, the whole day I remained at Paul's loft and did not go out. I paid Paul $1 for expenses today. Today I'm working on Cohen's big Royal typewriter, and it's very good for hard working. Paul is impressed with my mission in America, and the no income and expenditure was $1. And on Monday, April 11th, sunrise was 5:23 a.m., sunset 6:39 p.m. Moonrise Septami. Today I took meals with Dr. Mishra. That was back at the other building. Dr. Mishra TR was $5 paid to Paul for expenses. $1. Bus fare was 45 cents. So 6:45. In the evening, there was a meeting. 7 gentlemen attended, and the collection was $5. And again, you can go and hear these lectures and become, truly inspired to see how Prabhupada was preaching to people back then, and try to emulate his words and his explanations in your own preaching to the new people that you meet, that you're working to bring to the point of understanding the purpose of human life. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then our Chaitanya Charitam reading and discussion with Yashodanandana Prabhu in the cold, cold mountains of Twain Heart, California.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava जय पुष्पात् परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य सत्र सदस्य मौल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। रामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। स्वामीद भक्तवृंद की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असमर लॉर्ड। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असमर लॉर्ड। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द असमर लॉर्ड। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam or Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1. To the personality of Godhead Narayana. 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4. To Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. As we do every week, we will read a few introductory verses that are given in the Adi Lila of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in chapter 1, text number 18, which describes the meaning and the potency of hearing and studying this great transcendental literature. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Chaitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra. And glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Next text, text 19. Etina Thakur Gadiya ke karye chanayatmasat. Etinera charana vandana tire morenat. These three deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Text number 20. Granter Arambe Kari Mangala Charana Guru Vaishnav Bhagavan Tinera Smaranam. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benedictions. Text number 21. Tinera smaranayai vigna vinashana. Anayasayai nijavanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Text number 22. Semangala charana toy trivida prakar vastu nirdesha shiravada namaskara. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. Thank you, everyone, for patiently coming to this reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. I was going to read a few portions of a lecture by Srila Prabhupada. First, I want to quote from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 12, text number 84. Chapter 12, text number 84, Adi Lila, where Kṛṣṇa Das Kaviraj explains the position of a devotee named Srinatha Chakravarti. You're able to put the text on the screen, Venkat?
Yeah, I'm just trying that.
Okay. Adi Lila 1284. Nectar is coming soon. Nectar is in transit. Nectar has arrived. Srinath Chakravarti Aruddhavadasa Jitamrita Kashtakata Jagannatha Dasa. Translation: the 15th branch was Srinath Chakravarti, the 16th Uddhava, the 17th Jitamitra, and the 18th Jagannatha Dasa. Sorry, just 1 second here. Okay. Purport. The Sakha Nirnaya, verse 13, mentions Srinath Chakravarti as a reservoir of all good qualities and an expert in the service of Lord Kṛṣṇa. Now, the reason I mention this particular purport, this devotee, Srinath Chakravarti, was a great Vaishnavacharya in our Sampradaya, and after the departure of Lord Chaitanya, he compiled the first Gaudiya Vaishnava commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a brief commentary, but more significant is in that particular commentary, he summarizes the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very nicely. And this is explained by Srila Prabhupada in a lecture in New York on July 29th, 1966 in New York. July 29th, 1966 in New York. This was a class on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 12. We're able to pull it up, Venkat? I think it's in that email that I sent you. Well, what I have is slightly different, but we'll start. The actual verse that this Srinath Chakravarti has summarized is Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Taddama Vrindavanam Ramya Kastidupasana Vrajabadu Vargena Yakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartamaham Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatradaraha Naparaha. The philosophy of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya, what is the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya? The philosophy of Lord Chaitanya is that Kṛṣṇa is the only object of worship. And as Kṛṣṇa is the object of worship, similarly is placed Vrindavana, Vrindavana Dhama. Those who have visited India, Vrindavana Dhama, still, if you go to Vrindavan, without knowing about Kṛṣṇa, you will at once feel Kṛṣṇa consciousness. It is such a nice place. so that Vrindavana Dhamma is also worshipable. Ramya Kaschid Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Virya Kalpita. Now Krishna was worshipped by the damsels of Vrajadama. Lord Chaitanya recommends that is the highest, topmost grade of worship because that was pure love. The damsels of Vraja loved Krishna so much without any return. That is a sublime thing. So he recommended that is the highest form of worship. Ramya Kaschidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargavirya Kalpita. Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam. And Srimad Bhagavata is the spotless Vedic literature because Srimad Bhagavatam is full of Krishna consciousness only. That's all. Just like this Bhagavad Gita is full of Krishna consciousness, it is the preliminary study of Srimad Bhagavatam. The last word of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mami Kam Sharanam Vraja. Bhagavad Gita 1866. You give up everything. You just surrender unto me. Krishna says, one who accepts this philosophy, I accept Krishna as Vasudevaha Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Then for him, Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study. And Srimad Bhagavatam Amalam Puranam Prema Pumarto Mahan. Now we are searching. We are searching our self-interest. Everyone is busy of his own interests, but they do not know what is real interest. They do not know what is real interest. The real interest is to invoke the dormant love of Krishna. That is my real interest. That dormant love of Krishna is there in every one of you. Don't think that because I'm born in India, therefore I've got love of Krishna within my heart, dormant or manifested. No. That dormant love of Krishna is within you also. Krishna is neither foreign to you or foreign to me. He's for everyone. Therefore, love of Krishna is there permanently, but it is covered. Simply, it has to be invoked. And what is the process? What is this process of invoking? This is the process. Just like we are discussing, we are chanting, and we are reading Bhagavad Gita. We are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. This association will help us. This association will help us to invoke that dormant Krishna consciousness. So if we at all want, you will be interested in hearing a story. Not story, it is actual fact. One of my godbrother was no longer in this world. His name was Bhakti Saranga Goswami. He went to London. Just I have come to New York, he went to London and he formed a society also there in which Lord Roland, the Marquis of Zetland, he was formerly governor of Bengal during British period. And in our childhood, when we were a college student in Boyum, I saw him. He is very interested in India philosophy. He's a Scotsman, but very interested. Lord Roland say, so that Lord Roland say he was very kind enough to become the president of that society my godbrother organized in London. So Lord Roland say, and that my godbrother is talking. So Lord Roland say has asked him, oh, well, Swamiji, can you make me a Brahmana? Yes, why not? Yes, why not? You can become a Brahmana. So what are the conditions? My godbrother said, the preliminary 4 conditions. What are these conditions? Now, Striya Suna Papa Dhyuta Yatra Papas Chaturuvidaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 1:17-38. You cannot have any illicit connection with women. You cannot have any intoxication habit. You cannot indulge in gambling or unnecessary sporting. And you cannot live on animal food. Lord Rawlinson replied, it is impossible. It is impossible, lad. So these things, these 4 principles preliminary, If we actually want to be a Brahmana, then we have to take care of these 4 principles of life just to become a Brahmana. Yes. Then everyone can become a Brahmana. There is no bar. In this way, Srila Prabhupada explains nicely the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we will proceed with our reading of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This week, we will actually be reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila, chapter 4, text 177, all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text 177. Krishnera pratignaye kayache purvaete, yeyaeche bhaje Krishna tare bhajetaeche. Krishnera, of Lord Krishna, pratignya, promise, eka, one, ache, there is, purvaete, from before, ye, whoever, yaeche, just as, bhaje, he worships, Krishna, Lord Krishna, tare, to him, bhaje, reciprocates, taiche, just so. Translation: Lord Krishna has a promise from before to reciprocate with his devotees according to the way they worship him. Text 178. Yeyatamam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushyaha partha sarvashaham. Ye, those who, yata, as, mam, to me, prapadyante, surrender, tan, them, tata, so, eva, certainly, bhajami, reward, aham, I, mama, my, vartma, path, anuvartante, follow, manushyaha, men, partha, osanaprita, sarabhashaha, in all respects. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, osanaprita. Purport. Krishna was never ungrateful to the gopis, for as he declares to Arjuna in this verse from Bhagavad Gita 4:11, he reciprocates with his devotees in proportion to the transcendental loving service they render unto him. Everyone follows the path that leads toward him, but there are different degrees of progress on that path. And the Lord is realized in proportion to one's advancement. The path is one, but the progress in approaching the ultimate goal is different. And therefore, the proportion of realization of this goal, namely the absolute personality of Godhead, is also different. The gopis attain the highest goal, and Lord Chaitanya affirmed that there is no higher method of worship God than that followed by the gopis, just like as we discussed earlier in that lecture by Srila Prabhupada. Text 179. Se pratignya banga hoela gopira bhajane, tahate pramana Krishna srimukha vachane. Say that pratignya, promise, bhanga hoela, was broken, gopira, of the gopis, bhajane, by the worship, tahate, in that, pramana, the proof, Krishna, of Lord Krishna, srimukha vachane, by the words from the mouth. Translation. That promise has been broken by the worship of the gopis, as Lord Krishna himself admits. Text number 180. Naparayeham niravadya samyujam svasadu krityam vibudayusha pivaha ya mabhajam durjaya geha shrinkalaha samvrikshya tadvaha pratiyatu saduna. Not paraye, I'm able to make I niravadya samyujam, to those who are completely free from deceit, svasadu krityam, proper compensation, vibuddha ayusha, with a lifetime as long as that of the demigods, api, although, va, to you, ya, who, ma, me, abhajan, have worshipped, durjaya geha shrinkala, the chains of householder life, which are difficult to overcome, samvrishya, cutting, tat, that, va, of you, pratiyatu, let it be returned, sadhuna, but the good activity itself. Translation. O gopis, I'm not able to repay my debt for your spotless service, even within a lifetime of Brahma. Your connection with me is beyond reproach. You have worshipped me, cutting off all domestic ties, which are difficult to break. Please, therefore, let your own glorious deeds be your compensation. Purport. This verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:32-22 was spoken by Sri Kṛṣṇa himself when he returned to the gopis upon hearing their songs of separation. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Khadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshataha Amsho Adadana Srinam Danter Idam Yachi Punah Punah Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatusmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarabata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, as the complete, detailed explanation of the transcendental pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This book was completed by Kṛṣṇa Das Kaviraj, according to some scholars, in the early part of the 1600s in Vrindavana. Jiva Goswami departed from this world in 1608, and Kṛṣṇa Das Kaviraj was said to have completed his Chaitanya Charitamrita shortly afterwards. Now, when we analyze the sequence of topics in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is very deep. It is like an ocean. This is not just a collection of stories about the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but it is also a description a detailed analytical description of the philosophy presented by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why in the beginning of this program today, we were discussing about this great devotee, Srinath Chakravarti, who composed this wonderful verse of Sri Chaitanya, of the Sri Chaitanya Manjusha, where he summarized the actual activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, this is quite important because many persons tend to claim that they understand the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many different groups, different devotees, different persons that are claiming to understand the teachings. But the first real organized presentation, the summary, I'm speaking of a summary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, was given by this devotee, the Srinath Chakravarti. In the preface of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I'm speaking here of the 1974 edition, the non-adulterated version of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada explains in the third paragraph in the bottom, Lord Chaitanya therefore teaches direct worship of Lord Kṛṣṇa, who appeared as the foster child of the king of Vraja. He also suggests that the place known as Vrindavana is as good as Lord Kṛṣṇa, because there is no difference between the name, quality, form, pastimes, entourage, and paraphernalia of Lord Kṛṣṇa and Lord Kṛṣṇa himself. That is the absolute nature of the absolute truth. Lord Chaitanya also recommended that the highest mode of worship in the highest perfectional stage is the method practiced by the damsels of Vraja. These damsels, gopis or coward girls, simply loved Kṛṣṇa without a motive for material or spiritual gain. Chaitanya also recommended Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless narration of transcendental knowledge. And he pointed out that the highest goal in human life is to develop unalloyed love for Kṛṣṇa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is very important. This description by Srila Prabhupada is found in the preface of the original Chaitanya Charitamrita in paragraph 3 and 4 of page number 9 in Roman numerals 9 and 10. This is very important. Prabhupada many times quoted portions of that Sanskrit verse. As we saw today, he quoted several sections of it because many persons tend to be confused about the meaning of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. In a conversation one time, Prabhupada discussed how to understand who's a real devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to see what they have done for the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What sacrifice have they done for the mission of Lord Chaitanya? It is very popular nowadays for different devotees to run into here and there to different advisors, different pundits, different other persons who claim to be expert in presenting the philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, it is not our intent here to disparage or criticize or cast aspersions upon any devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Gaudiya Sampradaya. That is not the idea here. The point is we have to refine our intelligence to discriminate and understand who are the useful disciples and who are the useless disciple. This is explained by Srila Prabhupada in chapter number 12 of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Krishna Das Kaviraj discusses various sons of Advaita Acharya, 3 of whom remained faithful to his teachings and 3 of whom deviated from his teachings. And Prabhupada gives very lengthy explanation, detailed explanation of what took place after the departure of his Guru Maharaj Bhaktisiddhanta, His Divine Grace Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, in 1937. And what was the cause of the division of the mission and the loss of momentum of the preaching mission of the Acharya? Everything is clearly discussed there. There are numerous other conversations that Prabhupada also has explained the problem. But basically, Prabhupada has summarized the issue that one should remain faithful to the instruction of the spiritual master and have faith in his instruction and follow the instructions. This is very important. Prabhupada several times quoted, we're in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1974 on the beach where Prabhupada was taking a morning walk, and he stopped and he looked at every one of us and he quoted a verse from the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Guravo Bahavo Shanti Shishya Vittapaharakaha Durlabha Sadguru Devi Shishya Shantapaharakaha. The meaning of this is there are many gurus who are very expert in plundering or stealing the wealth of the disciple. Shishya Vitta, the assets of the disciple. Harakaha means to take away. This is a conversation given in the Padma Purana that is cited in the Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatan Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami. The last part of the verse explains nicely, Durlabha Sadguru Devi. It is very rare to find a bona fide Vaishnava guru. Shishya Santapaharakaha. The Santapa, the miseries, the anxieties of the disciple. To find that guru who can dissipate and terminate all these miseries, that is very rare. Because we see there are many show bottle gurus, gurus who are simply after getting some money, some name and fame, some power, some position, profit, adoration, distinction. All of these problems, all of these deviations are very detailed by Srila Prabhupada in his Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially in the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami. So one has to be very aware of this and never disrespect the Acharya, the bona fide Sampradaya Acharya like Srila Prabhupada. We're not a show bottle Sampradaya. We're not a camel milk Sampradaya. I've often given that example, that Srila Prabhupada's pure teachings, his non-adulterated teachings, are just like pure cow milk, pure organic cow milk. And various persons who claim to follow Prabhupada, who change his teachings, distorted teachings, disobey his teachings, for various numerous reasons. Such person should be avoided, like a person who is selling buffalo milk. Now, buffalo milk looks like milk. In all fairness, it's white, it's liquid, it has the looks of milk, but it has a very different effect on the human body than pure cow milk. Similarly, if one does not hear his mantras or instruction from a bona fide authorized acharya, it will not have a good result. Nishphalamataha. Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishphalamataha. One has to recognize the bona fide acharya of the sampradaya. One cannot disregard or disobey or disrespect the acharya. One has to understand this point. This is very important. This is not a joke, because sometimes we see people, although very intelligent, very scholarly, very able to quote different scriptures or to analyze things, sometimes they make mistakes because of lack of proper hearing or lack of proper association. They will misunderstand and misrepresent the Sampradaya Acharya like Srila Prabhupada. This is a very long topic which can be discussed at considerable length in subsequent sessions, but this is a very, very important point. One cannot neglect the position of the Acharya, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, in the Chandogya Upanishad. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna described Acharya Upasanam Saucham. One should worship the Acharya. One cannot disrespect the Acharya thinking that he is following the Acharya. And if one has disrespected the Acharya or misunderstood the position of the Acharya, one should apologize. One should rectify. One should clean up his act. It is not difficult to understand. There are plenty of references that Prabhupada discusses this. We'll leave it at that for now. To whom it may concern, very respectfully submitted. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. And very relevant points being made today by you in regards to how to qualify for spiritual advancement. And there are different degrees of advancement in spiritual life, but as Prabhupada mentioned in the purport today, it is dependent on the source, dependent on the spiritual master, and how you serve him and follow his instructions according to the process of bhakti yoga that he is teaching. For example, Prabhupada gave that interesting story about that lord in England that you read, where he was citing his godbrother, telling him, yes, I can make you a Brahmin, but you have to follow the 4 regulated principles in order to qualify. Of course, that is a very simple approach to it. No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, and no illicit sex life. And the Lord just laughed. Oh, I can't do that. Well, how can you make advancement if you can't discipline yourself? If there's no discipline, if there's no training by the guru, then there cannot be any advancement, because spiritual life means rising up off the animal platform to the human platform of existence. And then once you become purified of these bad habits, then you have to take up the process of devotional service as instructed by the bona fide spiritual master. But unless you can at least come to that platform, how can you begin even to hope to understand anything of the transcendental teachings of the bona fide Acharya? There are strict instructions given by Lord Chaitanya on how to become enlightened by the torchlight of knowledge. It's not just arbitrary. God is trying to save us. He comes to this world to save us, but we have to be submissive. We have to be eager. We have to be surrendered. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Yashodanandana Prabhu, they were very successful people. They had millions and millions of dollars, but when they understood the opportunity to be with Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they gave up everything. They surrendered everything, all their money, their social position, their family. And in this way, they became single-minded in their service. So the current situation in our mission, began by Srila Prabhupada, has been changed by so many imposter gurus, imposters. And this Lord Chaitanya wanted to warn us against, not to be misled by them. We're going to read a quick section from Chaitanya Charitamrita for this reference. It's from Anchalila, chapter 5, text 131. If you want to Yaha Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavara Stani Ekant Ashraya Kara Chaitanya Charine. Translation: if you want to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, he said, you must approach a self-realized Vaishnava and hear from him. Qualified, self-realized, not elected. Election doesn't make you self-realized. We all know that. You can do this when you have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Purport. Herein, Swarup Damodar Goswami instructs the poet from Bengal to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure Vaishnava and learn from him, not a pedophile guru. In India especially, there is now a class of professional Bhagavatam readers whose means of livelihood is to go from village to village, town to town, reading Bhagavatam and collecting dakshina, or rewards in the form of money or goods, like umbrellas, cloth, and fruit. Not only are they coming from going in there, they're coming to different countries like Mexico, and they're doing the same thing, collecting disciples. Thus, there's now a system of Bhagavad business with recitations called Bhagavad Sapta that continue from 1 week, although it is not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Nowhere does Srimad Bhagavatam say that the Bhagavatam should be heard for 1 week from professionals. Rather, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 says, Shrinvatam swakata Kṛṣṇa punya shravana kirtanaha. One should regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, hear everyone, from a self-realized Vaishnava. And we're reading all of our pastimes of Prabhupada's early days. We're listening to his lectures, and we're seeing the self-realized Vaishnava Srila Prabhupada in action, even from 1965 and earlier. By such hearing, one becomes pious. Hridyanas atta hasto hibidrani vidhunoti suritsitam. As one. Thus hears the Bhagavatam regularly and sincerely, his heart is purified of all material contamination. Nasta prayeshu abradeshu nicham bhagavata sevaya. We all know this. Bhagavati uttama sloke, bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. As one regularly hears the Bhagavatam or renders service unto the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, all that is troublesome to the heart is practically destroyed, and loving service unto the glorious Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Bhagavatam 1.2.18. This is the proper process, but people are accustomed to being misled by professional Bhagavatam reciters. Therefore, Swarup Damodar Goswami herein advises that one should not hear Srimad Bhagavatam from professional reciters. Instead, one must hear and learn the Bhagavatam from a self-realized Vaishnava, not an elected guru. Sometimes it's seen that when a Mayavadi sannyasi reads the Bhagavatam, flocks of men go to hear jugglery of words that cannot awaken their dormant love for Kṛṣṇa. I'll just stop for a minute. Janaspriya Yashodanandana sent me a talk given by Hridayananda, whatever his Karmi name is, yesterday in his office. It was, as you know, I had a PhD living with me for a year at my house. There is no way. He is so proud of his academic achievements, but it's proved to me academia is not a qualification for understanding this philosophy at all. Period. We know, and Prabhupada is speaking it here. The Mayavadis read the Bhagavatam, people come, but this will not awaken them, their dormant love for Kṛṣṇa. Sometimes people go to see professional dramas and offer food and money to the players, like Bhakti Marg Swami running his plays, who are expert at collecting these offerings very nicely. The result is the members of the audience remain in the same position of Griham Ananda Kupam, family affection. It also means the deep, dark well of family life. They stay in that world and do not awaken their love for Kṛṣṇa. So I'll let all of you, if you have a chance, you can read on at your own leisure and get a better understanding of what Prabhupada's teaching. As a result, there are many people coming to Kṛṣṇa consciousness that are not being properly trained in Kṛṣṇa consciousness according to Prabhupada's teachings in our disciplic succession. It is a mission that is collecting followers, everyone. Followers, not devotees. Like the Christian church, there are so many followers, so many different sects, so many different groups, and they all are different according to the teachings. For example, I learned from one of our members here on the class this evening that he was in an ashram being operated by Radhanath Swami. And he was interested in hearing Prabhupada's books, but their regular routine was to have the members collect and read Radhanath's book, Journey Home. Journey Home. To what home are they talking about? Where are they going? To Radhanath's? Where he's going to go? This is completely unfortunate to see how people are being misled. And this is like the Christian groups. The guru business is very busy collecting followers after collecting money from them. It is called Hindu. In some cases, it was called by one of its so-called elected gurus, the Hinduization of ISKCON. Not us, them saying it. They see it too, that they're collecting followers, not looking for people that want to hear from Srila Prabhupada and his bona fide disciples in Srila Prabhupada's incarnation, his Vani incarnation, where he lives with us forever in his words, and his devotees live with him. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please, if you could further comment, and then we'll move to discussion with the group.
Yeah, I quoted in the chat section here a conversation that took place in Honolulu, Hawaii on February 4th, 1975, where Jayatirtha mentioned, yesterday Nitai found a quote from the Puranas that says, there are many gurus who will take away your money, but rare is the one who will take away your miseries. Prabhupada, Guravo Bhava Shanti Vittapaharakaha. Nitai, yes, right. Prabhupada, Guravo Bhava Shanti Vittapaharakaha. Tam tu gurum napashyami shishya shantapaharakaha. There are many gurus. They are very expert in plundering disciples' money. But it is very difficult to find out a guru who can take out all the anxieties of the disciple. Shishya Santapaharakaha. Guru is meant for taking away the santapa, samsaradava nalalida loka, tranaya karunya ghanaganatvam. The Shishya will be peaceful, objective of life. That is the business of Guru, not to take away his money. Hamsaduda. In one lecture, you were explaining those prayers, samsara, and you said that the first business of the guru is to take away the anxiety of the disciple. We'll leave it at there from now. I'm sure there are some very nice devotees and very sober devotees who could add very pertinent comments to the discussion.
Well, I'm going to give us a further insight here, since I'm in Mexico and I'm learning about things here that have gone on. And I'll just comment quickly on it. There was one piece of property that was owned by Prabhupada. It was bought during his time with us. And as you know, everyone, real estate bought in 1972, like 1975, for example, the building in New York City, the skyscraper building, they sold it for something like $7 million. Now it would be worth $170 million. and never could be acquired again by our society. The temple in Toronto was purchased by us for $450,000. It's now worth $40 million. So what happened? There was the GBC here, man, who used to be in Toronto as a member of our Sankirtan party that I was leading. And he came here, Guru Prasad Swami, and he went ahead and sold one of the pieces of real estate for millions of dollars. They thought it had no merit to them. And guess what? You showed up. Everybody is in common knowledge here in Mexico that the money disappeared. It went here and there to different people, and nothing was done with it. This is reality. Someone may say to us, oh, why are you bringing this? This is common knowledge of all the devotees here, yet everybody is reluctant to say anything for fear they might be offending someone. Well, robbery, cheating, misrepresenting, lying, child molestation, these things are criminal activities. Stealing and committing criminal activities like this, when you're running a society which is meant to be serving humanity and not a few individuals, is criminal act. And this is what's been going on. And it carries on and is a very sad comment on the current state of affairs. So we're trying our best. We have Janis Priya. I was speaking to Govinda Dasi, who he's a friend of in Hawaii, who's now in Mexico. Maybe he could share some of his realizations with us this evening, since he also speaks Spanish.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol.
Humble obeisances. Yes, this cheating process is going on, as we know, and we're so fortunate that we had Srila Prabhupada. The Prabhupada is our guru, because Prabhupada never cheated anybody. He didn't have to cheat anybody. Why? Because he wasn't after any fame, money, recognition. He had one business, and that was to print his books. That was his main business, and to give Kṛṣṇa freely to anybody that actually came with a humble attitude. And I told the story before, but in Cuernavaca, which is pretty close to where you are, Prabhupada went there to do a program. And so they put him on this bedroom, and they had a crucifix. And Prabhupada called his servant and said, please take that off. So they took it off, and Prabhupada said, if somebody killed your mother or your father with a knife, then will you worship that knife? He says, this is the foolishness. And then Prabhupada is so brave. Mexico, 99% of the people are Catholics. And Prabhupada said, if somebody's been a devotee for 6 weeks, he knows more than the Pope. Some people, yes, freak out. Some people got up and left because they were so offended. But Prabhupada didn't care. Prabhupada had to speak the truth. He had no other business but to speak the truth. And that's why he did so much. He didn't have time to waste to impress anybody. He didn't have to impress anybody. Simply by being himself, he more than impressed anybody that came in contact with him. Everybody who came in contact with Prabhupada will tell the same thing, that he was so simple and so humble. And so if we compare to the ongoing business of these other people pretending to be gurus, basically they're all very puffed up and they want recognition, and definitely they're enjoying the money. So this is all against what Prabhupada introduced to us. Just everything that we get, it should be used for Kṛṣṇa. This I, me, and mine is not our philosophy. It's Krishna, Krishna, and Krishna. That's our philosophy. Everything. So
Yes.
by serving Guru, simply following Srila Prabhupada. And we don't have to be very bright. We don't have to be very knowledgeable. Prabhupada says, you might be all nonsense. He says, that's all right. He says, I'm not, and my books are not. So if you simply repeat what I said, don't add, don't subtract, don't embellish, just repeat what I said. And he actually said, like parrot. And then he corrected himself. He said, well, parrot doesn't know what he's saying, but we know what we're saying. So this is our duty, simply just to present this knowledge as Prabhupada gave it to us. And that's what we're doing. And we see that people are coming, and we see that this group is growing nicely, and there's a future for us. Why? Because we're not concocting, we're not inventing, we're not changing anything. Everything has to be done following the sampradaya and the example of the previous acharyas. And if we do this, then we're guaranteed to have success. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. And I just wanted to mention, to follow up on what you were saying, that because these members of Prabhupada's organization, that they have inherited his assets, like there's a farm community in Mississippi. And I was online, I was watching the class. I think Bira Krishna was giving the class. And guess how many people were in the temple room, Jashoda? Nobody. Zero. There was a cameraman and him sitting behind the Vyasasan and speaking. What's the point here? They have no people. They've got old men, godbrothers of ours, taking care of the cows. What happens when they die? Who is going to take care of those cows when these devotees that are there trying to keep the ship floating die? Let me guess. People will come in. We have no people. Let us sell this $10 million project and manufacture a different system according to my ideas to spread Krishna consciousness and make more followers for me. This nefarious game is going on right in front of our eyes in 2024, unfortunately. And I think Nilesh Dalal in Miami is with us. I hope he can reach us. There he is.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thanks to Prabhupada.
It is interesting to see this. So it is interesting to see what you're talking about, and what was posted by Prabhuji today about Yashodanandan Prabhu's lecture to the WhatsApp group on PDA. Number one is the reason why we keep bashing these so-called fake gurus is to make everybody, especially the new devotees, realize that what is the difference between a pure devotee and what is the difference between a fake devotee. You see, you have to understand these two things. Now, as even Prabhuji from Hawaii said that, Prabhupada was very humble. How was he humble? In what was those characteristics which are humble? To me, there were two incidents which comes to my mind, which I read somewhere, and I'm sure you and Yashodanandan Prabhu can either corroborate to it. Is that number one is that somebody gave Prabhupada a Rolex watch, and Prabhupada took off the whatever watch he was wearing, and he wore the Rolex watch, and then continued his business. The second or the third time after, I don't know whether it was after a month or a day or what, but when the same Prabhuji who had gifted Prabhupada the Rolex watch saw that Prabhupada had a different watch on his wrist. Says why? Because somebody came and gave him another watch, and he took off the Rolex watch, gave him that Rolex as a prasad, and took his watch and accepted his gift. This is what a true devotee or a pure devotee of the Lord is, where he has no attraction towards any kind of material attraction. What is a material attraction? We are trying to see that. The second episode which comes to my mind is when, even today, when I go to Bombay, Jew ISKCON, they have a Prabhupada Tower. They have those Prabhupada Towers where they have Prabhupada's quarters, which they have converted into kind of a museum kind of a thing, where it is completely made up of marble and very nicely done decor, And I remember one episode where one of the disciples of Prabhupada would ask Prabhupada, so Prabhupada, are you comfortable in your new quarters? And Prabhupada could immediately sense what was going on. And he says, no, I still miss my room in Radha Damodar's temple. I still miss that. So look at the difference between a pure devotee of the Lord and a fake devotee of the Lord. As you said, where did all that money go? Somebody has still got this attraction towards material advancements or material aspects. Now, had this person been not associated with ISKCON, say suppose he was a businessman outside, would it bother him that much? No. Why not? Because he's a materialistic person having materialistic tendencies, and that is why he chose materialism over spiritualism, which is normal, which is fine. But somebody who poses to be a spiritualist and then goes for material attraction, there is something wrong in this picture. And we need to point it out. Why? Because the newcomers who come in should understand that this is not the norm. The norm or the gold standard is what we are talking about, which is Srila Prabhupada. And I wish Yashodanand Prabhu and yourself can shed some more light on this.
Yashoda, please.
When they acquired the New York Temple in Manhattan, the tall building, Prabhupada gave some advice. He told the devotees, never sell this building. And Prabhupada told him, if you sell this building, where will the devotees go? There was a very famous photograph in a Back to Godhead magazine, where there was dozens, literally over a few hundred devotees in front of the building. It was a major achievement. So it's a very disturbing. I mean, Vishwakram, here in Toronto, they sold a house down the street from Avenue Road in the temple, and there were questions from many devotees, where did the money go? It happened even in Ontario. They sold some acres of land in Northern Ontario. Nobody knows where it went. So this phenomena of selling property with dubious whereabouts is a very disturbing, because that money belongs to Kṛṣṇa and Srila Prabhupada, and it should be used exclusively for the service of Srila Prabhupada according to the instructions of Prabhupada, not of this idea, we're GBC, we're the best man, we can decide what to do. Yeah, you decide what to do at the detriment of the devotees and the society. Very dangerous tendency, very dangerous tendency.
Well, the thing is this, that ultimately spiritual life has nothing to do with material acquisitions. Zero. Actually, anything in this world that we are connected with is part of our karmic journey. Now, somehow or other, Krishna has arranged all of this to go on. All this confusion, this chaos that Prabhupada predicted. But us as a group, I was asked this question, Yashoda, from a fellow yesterday who's become a Gaudiya Math member. And he's telling me how much he loves Prabhupada. He's a Mexican devotee, actually, also a Salvadorian. But at the same time, he'll bring in some kind of name of a guru that he's adopted from the Gaudiya Math. So is he getting the real understanding? And he was asking me, what happens when somebody comes to Krishna consciousness, they're sincere, and they meet these types of people? He said, what would have happened if you had met someone like this? Well, the answer is it would be very unfortunate. Very unfortunate, because you're being misled. we are blessed here as a group that we have one single point of view, that Prabhupada is present with us in his teachings, and we're all following them to the best of our abilities. And this is our common denominator. And our job, Nilesh, is to propagate this teaching in your area, Miami. They had a big building there. They sold it. What happened to the money? Because they had no members, because they steered away from Prabhupada. It's self-evident. It's not like we're telling somebody something because we're trying to point out a fault. These are facts, everyone. Yashoda, I'm looking at some pictures of some of these gurus that are being posted by their disciples online. They're broken. They're in wheelchairs. They look spastic. They look completely destroyed by material disease. Why is this going on? Well, very simple. You collect followers, you collect money, you misdirect it, you disobey the orders of the spiritual master, you distribute changed books to justify what you're using, and using those books to leverage people to come to ISKCON so you can make them disciples of yourself. This is what's going on in these troubled times of the Kali Yuga. Yashoda, a last comment before we end off.
Now, this is a very important point we're discussing here, because many devotees who come to the movement with a pure intention, but it becomes polluted in association with mixed devotees with dubious motivations. In other words, Prabhupada's teachings are pure, Prabhupada's books are pure, but when things are changed or mixed, it's called mishra in Sanskrit. It's no longer Shuddha Bhakti or pure devotional service, it's Mishra Bhakti or mixed devotional service, mixed with karma, mixed with fruitive activities, mixed with mental speculation, and a host of various other weeds or deviations. And devotees should be aware of this. Devotees should not let themselves be victimized by false propaganda. We've often discussed this conversation with Srila Prabhupada, with Shyamasundar and Rebhatinandan about Mao Zedong and the Russian communist system. And Prabhupada said, similarly, sometimes after he will not be accepted. That is my proposition. As Russia is not accepted now, some days after he will not be accepted. Prabhupada is talking about the Chinese system. Similarly, your also theory will fail. That is my proposition. Because I challenge that your theory is not perfect. Because Russia's theory was not perfect, it has failed. Similarly, I say that your theory is also imperfect, therefore it will fail. Anything imperfect will fail. That is my proposition. Rebhatinandana. His propaganda is that it is perfect because it has made the Chinese people propaganda. By propaganda, you can do anything. That is different thing. But fact is fact. If your theory is not perfect, you make however propaganda, it will fail. And this is why the current ISKCON and all these neo-mats are having problems. It's based on a false theory because I'm not accepting the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and his pure, original, non-adulterated teachings. Thank you.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it is a challenge, and we're ready to accept it, everyone here. And just finally, we're just ending up. We're at 7:31 here in Mexico. Remember this, Prabhus, and I was talking to Yashodanandana Prabhu about this point. It is very hard to find people that are really ready to cooperate and work together to serve the mission and the legacy of protecting Srila Prabhupada's books and his teachings. This is a very difficult thing. We're succeeding at a certain level, and we want to thank all of you for your participation and your steady practice of Bhakti Yoga along with our group. And we hope in the future we can continue to grow this effort in an intelligent and Krishna conscious manner for the benefit of humanity. So thank you again. Don't forget, we'll be having class on Saturday, Bhagavad Gita class, and Sunday, Srimad Bhagavatam class, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in America and Canada, and in Mexico at 8 a.m. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Haribol.
Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. Thanks everybody for participating. Welcome everyone.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta पदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण